Well, hello, 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 everybody. Hi, everyone. If you're joining me on the Facebook, Amanda Helman, author and speaker page, I am so glad to see all of you. It is Traumaplicity Talk on Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you certainly, if you haven't been on, welcome to this page. Invite friends. Traumaplicity Talk Show is about trauma and simplicity, and it means simple steps of dealing with trauma. Nothing about trauma can be simple, but what it means is looking at it and helping our brain say, oh, it's possible to heal from trauma, and I can do it a couple steps or one step at a time. And so I am Dr. Amanda Helman. I am an author. I am a coach and a speaker, and I love to be on this page. I've written a couple books and certainly have talked about the upcoming children's workshop, but this time on Wednesdays, I am talking about time management, which is about explicit instruction or explicit time management, which is about executive functioning. I think the educator in me. And so with that, it's really important because executive functioning is how we actually take everything together and process information. And when we think about executive functioning, that's what it is. We want to have different parts of our brain activate together. And time management is a huge part of our brain. And a lot of people say, well, I'm not so great at it. And I'm here to say there's some helpful strategies that'll help you so that you feel that you actually can do this and not feel as if you can't do this, because it's possible for you to actually use your brain in ways that you can manage your time and also look at things. If we're not as strong with it, we can actually shift in our thinking and in our time management all the time in our brain. That's the great part. So I'm actually going on my page because I want to make sure if any of you comment that I will comment back to you. Very excited about that and want to make sure that I'm doing that with you. And so when we're looking at this, oh, good. Some of you are on here. I'm going to stop my talking. So if you do comment, I will be able to see you. And certainly when we think about time management, it's not just being on time or not late somewhere. It's actually knowing generally, how do you get to one place? Like how much time it might take, how much time it might take driving, how much time it might take to talk about content, how much time it might be for a presentation, how much time generally it may be for you to complete a task. Also having that good sense, as well as understanding your schedule. A lot of times we may say, well, I'll just do this laissez-faire. And when we do that, we really don't have a good sense of when do I have time that's for me, my prioritizing time, plus like my work, plus everything else. And as much as we can, we know that we can't control everything. I'm not a big fan of that. But what I'm saying is when you have planned times for things, and if something shifts, that's okay. But there's certain things that I have on my schedule that are a non-negotiable, and that would be specific prioritized time for myself, for having really healthy self-care routines, and even getting to places for sleep, because when we actually have different types of routines, that's part of time management. How long will I need for breakfast? And it's just giving you a general time. If you're like, well, I want to have an unplanned time for breakfast, but I want to have it just relaxed, then give yourself an hour and a half. Like that's your breakfast time. And maybe you have little understanding of what that is. Or perhaps you want to have 2 hours and it's unstructured time where you don't have anything. Great, do that, but have something on your schedule. When I keep talking and posting about this, many people don't have any type of schedule. And some people are like, oh, I don't like that because it's so pinned down. You can have things on your schedule as pinned down and specific, or even just long chunks of time that you know you're doing something. If you're like, I need some unstructured, I don't want to have it to the T, great, that's you. So then on your schedule, you can have work time, but maybe have some of the things you do between those hours. Because then what that does is give you leeway for whatever you consider and you define as work tasks. Essentially, that would help. So for people who like more unstructured, you can still have unstructured within structure. You can have chunks of time to help you focus on different tasks. So that is part of what I call, really focusing on different things, focusing on what you need, and then moving forward. So when we talk about time management in my life, I'm really good at that stuff. Hold on one second. I had a pause. We'll take that out later. But anyway, if you are looking at time management, there's many different strategies to help us, timers, different beepers, looking at audits. And that's where I come in when I talk with different clients. But in my lifetime, I overall am pretty good at time management. When I know when I'm late, that's the difference. Like I know when I'm going to be late because I'm not getting up. So that's different than like, oh, I need to move up at this time. Like I'm very much, I have high administration. So I know when I'm late. So I plan to make sure I'm not late, right? But I also know like, okay, if I'm going to the gym or if I'm going somewhere, if I'm going hiking or if I'm doing something, this is how long it takes. And generally that's how much it takes. Sometimes as I move forward, because I like to do a lot of different tasks and get them finished. However, I also like to have downtime, but it took me time to actually put those things in my calendar. So I have planned time for myself, planned time to care for myself, and even time for downtime. And I'm even learning, like I have a morning pamper routine, for example. I'm excited about it. And I keep shifting it because you are your source. You know if you're liking it or not. You know what you want to shift and tweak. And I have that. So I'm like, well, as I'm shifting into my new routine now, especially because now I'm doing coaching full time and I don't have other things and I'm learning how to build a schedule. That's really important to figure out what your schedule is and when you have downtime. So I'm learning how to schedule the most out of my day on the days that I have planned coaching versus days that I don't and what I'm enjoying doing. And during the week, Monday through Sunday, I have planned morning pampering routines, even on Saturday and Sundays. Why? Because it's times where I might do my workout or my walking and my prayer time, my worship time, my doing some writing if I want, because in the mornings I like to do some stuff like journaling or writing. Or any of that kind of stuff. And then the rest of the day is just fun and play. So you get on the days that I don't do coaching, but you get to pick what you need to do on those days. Hi there, Marcus Odell. It's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Really thinking of you, my friend. But with time management, it's good to have things on your calendar. It's good to have things on your calendar so you can plan and prepare ahead. And so time management, when it comes to the brain and when it comes to any type of executive functioning, your brain can shift at any point. In fact, they've had studies, not just with children, other adults, teenagers, but even patients who were stroke victims. And in fact, stroke patients can shift their brain. They actually started to learn different tasks. They started to shift in their thinking because there's neurons and they're new all the time. And so what we can do is, if that's not our great strength, time management, is having times where we can actually put things on our calendar, have reminders set on our phone or on our calendar, but really having something set down. And that's what I do. I love to have things set down on my calendar, because not just on a list, right? I would do that here and there, and I'm really good at remembering, but it's really good to have a structure on my calendar. It's always there. So those are some suggestions for the time management. And time management, again, there's strategies like the timer, having some consistent routines when we get up and early rise, morning rise. I have morning routines, evening routines during the day, and it's helpful. And I have unstructured time because you need both. You need both, but it's good to have that. So those are some talks on time management. I'll have different tips this week. So the next 12 weeks, I'm going to be doing across my different medias, because I love the brain, all the 11, there's 11, but sometimes people say there's more executive functioning skills. And then I'm going to break it down into the higher functioning type things and how we can impact our brain and shift it. So that's the fun part. The second part is my exciting news. So I actually am starting to ask any of you who are interested in being on my Traumaplicity podcast. Right now it's on my Amanda Helman author and speaker page. However, in the next couple of months, it will be transferring to a podcast. and on YouTube. I have a lot of people who've been on. I have some new guests coming. I probably have at least 3 months worth of new guests coming. And I would also like to invite any of you who have a story of overcoming trauma, really learning how to overcome something in your life or navigating. And so I want to invite you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an application link below in the comments once I'm finished. And if that's you and you want to share your story, usually I'm on here 20 or 30 minutes with guests. Today it might be shorter because it's just me and I'm explaining what we're doing moving forward. So I'll still have Traumaplicity Talk Show every week on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Usually guests recorded ahead of time. And then I will be having this on my podcast and on a podcast, just like I did with Apple a Day. Really what happened is Apple a Day was wonderful, but I'm actually shifting right into trauma and leadership and overcoming. So I'll still have my Apple Day from before, but I'm going to be shifting the focus of the podcast of Traumaplicity, because I have a bunch of different things coming, not just with the podcast and that, but many other things that are going to be coming from the Traumaplicity. And so certainly this is my passion, is helping people to overcome and know that there is hope, that there is things to do as we shift. And so that is one of my heart missions. So certainly if that is you, or you have a friend, or you know somebody who has a story, we all do, we all have a story, our stories matter. And so certainly you can let me know, or have them fill out this form. Basically the form has your name and email. It has the questions that I ask on the show. So it really helps me understand, like, what is it you want to share and help you prepare. And then once that'll happen is I'll get in touch with you within the next week. And then I will send you a Calendly link. That means that it's a time when we meet. We will actually pre-record before the show. If you would like to record live, I'll have that as an option as well. So it could be either or, and it's still going to be taped because I'm going to be using that for future podcasts and YouTube videos. So with that said, I wanted to jump on here and explain that. So I hope you have a great day. If you're watching, or if you had watched, thank you. It was nice to see you. Certainly you can put your, any questions you have in the comments. So this week was executive functioning. I'm not going to do this every week, but on my different places, I may talk about executive functioning. On the author and speaker page, I also am going to be doing a Monday with meaning, creative Monday meanings. So that is fun, just talking about some morphology, which is a study of words and meaning, and doing some little tips, or maybe even reading something or talking about the fun on words. And so you can join that on Mondays, and then on Wednesdays are always the Traumaplicity Talk Show on this page, as well as some other quotes I'll have and different author quotes that I'll have during the week. So I'm going to be adding that during the week to add to the page and want to continue to add value. So I hope you have a great night. Thanks for watching and tuning in. Take care of yourself. Be well.